I'm Jeremy. Today's day 387 of reading. Today, Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Let's get started. I'm currently on page 225. Let's go lock in. Still, it won't hurt to have some new blood, will it? Said Ron. With a whoosh and a clatter, hundreds of owls came soaring in through the upper windows. They descended all over the hall, bringing letters and packages to their owners and showering the breakfasters with droplets of waters. It was clearly raining hard outside. Hedwig was nowhere to be seen, but Harry was hardly surprised. His only correspondent was Cyrus, and he doubted Cyrus would have anything new to tell him only after 24 hours apart. Hermione, however, had to move her orange juice aside quickly to make way for a large barn owl bearing a sodden Daily Prophet in its beak. "What are you still getting that for?" said Harry irritably, thinking of Seamus, as Hermione placed the nut in the leather pouch on the owl's leg, and it took off again. "I'm not bothering. Load of rubbish." "It's best to know what the enemy are saying," said Hermione darkly, and she unfurled the newspaper and disappeared behind it, not emerging until Harry and Ron had finished eating. "Nothing," she said simply, rolling up the newspaper and laying it down by her plate. "Nothing about you or Dumbledore or anything." Professor McGonagall was now moving along the table, handing out schedules. "Look at today," groaned Ron. "History of magic, double potions, divination, and double defense against the dark arts. Been Snape, Trelawney, and that Umbridge woman all in one day. I wish Fred and George'd hurry up and get those skiving snack boxes sorted." "Do my years deceive me?" said Fred, arriving with George and squeezing onto the bench beside Harry. "Hogwarts prefects surely don't wish to skive off lessons." "Look what we've got today," said Ron grumpily, shoving his schedule under Fred's nose. "That's the worst Monday I've ever seen." "Fair point, little bro," said Fred, scanning the column. "You can have a bit of nosebleed nougat cheap if you want." "Why is it cheap?" said Ron suspiciously. "Because you'll keep bleeding till you shrivel up. We haven't got an antidote yet," said George, helping himself to a kipper. "Cheers," said Ron moodily, pocketing his schedule. "But I think I'll take the lessons." "And speaking of your skiving snack boxes," said Hermione, eyeing Fred and George beadily, "you can't advertise for testers on the Gryffindor notice board." "Says who?" said George, looking astonished. "Says me," said Hermione, "and Ron." "Leave me out of it," said Ron hastily. Hermione glared at him. Fred and George sniggered. "You'll be singing a different tune soon enough, Hermione," said Fred, thickly buttering a crumpet. "You're starting your 5th year. You'll be begging us for a snack box by long." "And why would starting 5th year mean I want a skiving snack box?" said Hermione. "5th year's OWL year," said George. So you've got your exams coming up, haven't you? They'll be keeping your noses so hard to that grindstone they'll be rubbed raw," said Fred with satisfaction. "Half our year had minor breakdowns coming up to OWLs," said George happily. "Tears and tantrums. Patricia Stimpson kept coming over faint. Kenneth Trelawney came out in boils. Do you remember?" said Fred reminiscently. "That's 'cause you put a Bulbasaur's powder in his pajamas," said George. "Oh, yeah," said Fred, grinning. "I'd forgotten. Hard to keep track sometimes, isn't it? Anyway, it's a nightmare of a year, the 5th, said George. "If you care about exam results, anyway." Fred and I managed to keep our spirits up somehow. "Yeah, you got, what was it, 3 OWLs each?" said Ron. "Yup," said Fred unconcernedly, "but we feel our future lies outside the world of academic achievement. We seriously debated whether we were going to bother coming back for our 7th year," said George brightly. "Yeah, but now that we've got—" He broke off at a warning look from Harry, who knew George had been about to mention the Triwizard winnings he had given them. "Now that we've got our OWLs," George said hastily. "I mean, do we really need NEWTs? But we didn't think Mom could take us leaving school early, not on top of Percy turning out to be the world's biggest prat." We're not going to waste our last year here, though, said Fred, looking a bit affectionately around at the Great Hall. We're going to use it to do a bit of market research, find out exactly what the average Hogwarts student requires from his joke shop, carefully evaluate the results of our research, and then produce the products to fit the demand. But where are you going to get the gold to start a joke shop? Said Hermione skeptically. You're going to need all the ingredients and materials and premises, I suppose. Harry did not look at the twins. His face felt hot. He deliberately dropped his fork and dived down to retrieve it. He heard Fred say overhead, "Ask us no questions and we'll tell you no lies, Hermione. Come on, George. If we get there early, we might be able to sell a few extendable years before herbology." Harry emerged from under the table to see Fred and George walking away, each carrying a stack of toast. "What did that mean?" said Hermione, looking from Harry to Ron. "Ask us no questions. Does that mean they've already got some gold to start a joke shop?" "You know, I've been wondering about that," said Ron, his brow furrowed. "They've bought me a new set of dress robes this summer, and I couldn't understand where they got the galleons." Harry decided it was time to steer the conversation out of these dangerous waters. "Do you reckon it's true this year's going to be really tough because of the exams?" "Oh, yeah," said Ron. "Bound to be, isn't it? OWLs are really important. Affect the jobs you can apply for and everything. We get career advice, too, later this year. Bill told me. So you can choose what NEWTs you want to do next year." "Do you know what you want to do after Hogwarts?" Harry asked the other two, as they left the Great Hall shortly afterward and set off toward their History of Magic classroom. "Not really," said Ron slowly. "Except, well," he looked kind of sheepish. "What?" Harry urged him. "Well, it'd be cool to be an R," said Ron in an offhand voice. "Yes, it would," said Harry fervently. "But they're like the elite," said Ron. "You've got to be really, really good. What about you, Hermione?" "I don't know," said Hermione. "I think I'd really like to do something worthwhile." "An R is worthwhile," said Harry. "Yes, it is, but it's not the only worthwhile thing," said Hermione thoughtfully. "I mean, if I could take Spoo further." Harry and Ron carefully avoided looking at each other. History of Magic was by common consent the most boring subject ever devised by wizardkind. Professor Binns, their ghost teacher, had a wheezy, droning voice that was almost guaranteed to cause severe drowsiness within 10 minutes, 5 in warm weather. He never varied the forms of their lesson, but lectured them without pausing while they took notes, or rather gazed sleepily into space. Harry and Ron had so far managed to pass great passes in the subject only by copying Hermione's notes before exams. She alone seemed to be able to resist the sporific power of Bin's voice. Today, they suffered an hours and a half's droning on the subject of giant wars. Harry heard just enough within the first 10 minutes to appreciate dimly that in another teacher's hand, this subject might have been mildly interesting. But then his brain disengaged, and he spent the remainder of the hour and 20 minutes playing hangman on the corner of his parchment with Ron, while Hermione shot them filthy looks out of the corner of her eye. "How would it be," she asked him coolly as they left the classroom for break, Binns drifting away through the blackboard, "if I refused to lend you my notes this year?" "We'd fail our OWLs," said Ron. "If you want that on your conscience, Hermione." "Well, you deserve it," she snapped. "You don't even try to listen to him, do you?" "We do try," said Ron. "We just haven't got your brains or your memory or your concentration. You're just cleverer than we are. Is it nice to rub it in?" "Oh, don't give me that rubbish," said Hermione, but she looked slightly mollified as she led the way out into the dark, damp courtyard. A fine misty drizzle was falling, so that people standing in huddles around the edges of the yard looked like blurred at the edges. Harry, Ron, and Hermione chose a secluded corner under a heavily dripping balcony, turning up the collars of their robes against the chilly September air and talking about what Snape was likely to set them in the first lesson of the year. They had got as far as agreeing that it was likely to be something extremely difficult, just to catch them off guard after a 2-month holiday, when someone walked around the corner toward them. "Thank you, everyone. That's all for today. Bye. See you tomorrow." Tomorrow we're going to read page 230. Bookmark. Peace out.